Okay, the new Superman film from James Gunn, which we went to a late night screening in Super Screen. So, yeah, everyone knows the story of Superman. It's a tough one for me. So I actually, so it's a rehash, really. It's a retelling of Superman, the alien that comes to Earth and is a savior, really, the superhero. And I will be honest, throughout my life, I wasn't the biggest fan of this franchise, of the Superman films. They took a long time to grow on me. I was much more of a Batman person and the stuff. And you know, I don't mind the original Christopher Reeve ones. They have grown on me a lot. It took a long time for me to warm to them, actually. And I will say, controversially, when Man of Steel, well, I'll start actually with when Superman Returns from Bryan Singer appeared, and it was a big comeback. I went and saw that on the big screen, and it was okay. There was an amazing scene in it when there's a plane gonna crash and he stops it. That was an incredible scene on the big screen at the time. And then I will be honest, Man of Steel come out from Zack Snyder, and that actually, I thought that was the best Superman film at the time. I really actually liked that. I thought it was an incredible film. The fight scene at the end with the two Kryptonians was really well done. I liked Henry Cavill's as Superman. There was really intense emotional scenes. I even liked Kevin Costner as his father in it. I thought it had a lot of depth. I honestly thought it was a really good film. And I thought it was a really good retelling. It was the first Superman film that really did sell it to me and pulled me in. And then obviously the whole Justice League thing, I wasn't so sold on. I think Man of Steel was good. Batman versus Superman disappointed me. It grew on me over time, and Justice League was a bit of a disaster in a way to me. So jump into this James Gunn one. I'll be honest, I do find James Gunn hit and miss for me. He's not a filmmaker I really take to, because I know a lot of people love Guardians of the Galaxy, but for me, I find them some of the weaker Marvel films. They're like a pocket over there to me. I'm not, and it's a mixture of things. Everyone went mad about the music in Guardians of the Galaxy. I wasn't a big fan of the music choices. I generally wasn't. Star-Lord wasn't sold to me as a character very well. So again, it worked, but so and it was how James Gunn told it to me. I like James Gunn's roots from Romeo and Juliet and everything. I appreciate where he's come from, but coming to the brand new 2025 Superman, do you want to say so? Because you enjoyed it. I mean, you really liked this film.
So I'm the complete opposite of you, of everything
Well, I've
you
not
just
completely
said.
said about what
No,
I've
about
said.
what you just said about that. I am the complete opposite. I didn't hate Man of Steel. I wasn't impressed. I thought it's one of the weakest films I've ever seen. And then when Batman versus Superman come out, that film is ridiculous. I have rewatched it and it's grown on me over time because you hound me about it. But I am not a fan of the story or the character arcs or any of it. To me, it was because I am a fan of the Christopher Reeves originals. And when I was a kid, I used to watch the cheesy TV series and I used to watch the Smallville, and I've watched all of those. So I was a fan. I am a fan of Batman as well. Big lover of Batman. But I like the older, cheesy Superman stuff. And I was never a fan of the other things. But I also like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's one of my favourite Marvel films. I think it's some of the stronger Marvel films. It has my kind of humour. It has that retro 80s vibe about it. I like Star-Lord. I do think he's quite funny because he's very quirky and not what you expect from a hero at all, and a little bit arrogant, and I kind of find that charming about him, and I enjoy those. And I loved the soundtrack.
Okay.
So I like James Gunn's
So what did you think of
homages to
Superman?
him. It's a weird one because when the film started, and I won't do any spoilers, but when the film started, I was a bit like, what on earth is going on? I was like, the things that were happening, I was like, this is a bit different. And it kind of annoyed me at first, but then as the story progresses, I could see what he'd done. And the more chaos that happens, the more it shouldn't work, the more it did work for me. And I enjoyed it. And I thought the way it portrays certain things, I found actually quite amusing, with the idiot superheroes and the bad guys always kind of being on top and the corruptness always winning. and everybody following the rules, even though they know deep down they're wrong. And Superman being Superman, just, doing the right thing for the right thing and not giving a toss about any of the rules and the politics and anything else. And also making a lot of mistakes because he's young and he's only been Superman for 3 years and all of that sort of stuff. So I was enjoying it. And the more chaotic it got, the kind of sillier it got, the more I was finding myself laughing at it. And surprisingly, the character I thought would annoy me the most, Mr. Terrific, actually I found really funny and relatable. He's like super intelligent. His humor is very dry and sarcastic, and everyone else is a bit dumb when they're around him. And I found that quite quirky and funny. But I always relate to these type of characters, even from a young age. I've always liked the dry kind of almost robotic characters. I've always kind of related to those. Very logical, which I like. So he was surprisingly one of my favorite characters in it, which was weird. And the dog is obviously adorable and ridiculous and very badly behaved, which I thought was kind of funny.
I mean, it's not all negative for me, but and I'll be careful to tread around spoilers. It's fresh out, but the film does just
Such a good spoiler in it, which we can't say.
The film does just start as if you're. It actually felt like a sequel to me. The film felt like there'd been previous films, although it's supposed to be a
Can I
rehash.
say something about that? Because I'd seen people mention this, and I wanted to see it for myself. But I do think that he's done that deliberately. He's kind of thrown you in the middle of a story because there have been so many different Supermans and so many different.
Well, I was about to say
everything.
So
that it's kind of like, let's skip all of that because we know all of that.
So we did this with Spider-Man in the Marvel films, but my point is. Yes, I know everyone knows the story of Superman, you can see it, but this is a brand new relaunch and it was just thrown at you. It was like the Batman film, the Batman film where, Batman's been on the streets for a few years, he's a rookie, he's making mistakes, he's getting hurt. It's took that premise to me. The point is I've gone to sit down and watch it and it is very abrupt. You do just start in the middle of a film. It feels like I've missed something. It feels like that, there's nothing that was a bit and I'm all for being down with filmmaking, but that was very hard to get into because you're straight into something without any real backstory.
See, I like that because sometimes I find when they spend the first 20 minutes of a film explaining how we got to this point and what they've done and how they're the superhero, I do get very frustrated.
But there's a limit. You do want some kind of feel, otherwise then you're not really going to feel for the characters.
I did.
That's a small pocket, so so it starts quite abrupt. I'll get negatives out of the way. I thought that the Horde of Justice lot were crap. I hated all of them.
They're supposed to be, though.
But
that was the point. They were supposed to be crap.
Right. I didn't like the characters. I didn't think they were very well portrayed. They were annoying. I didn't resonate with any of them.
But do you not feel like that was the whole point?
No, I feel like they're setting up for a new DC universe and these aren't great characters. It's like they've scraped the bottom of the barrel. Like we've had Justice League, we've had the good characters. Now we're like, oh, who can we get? So that was a problem for me. Lex Luthor was good. I liked him.
Nicholas Hoult's amazing.
There was a really dark scene in there and it kind of forgot itself. So I know there's been some problems with production where it was supposed to be a darker film and there was a scene where it was really dark and Lex Luthor was quite scary. I wished it was more like that. That film would have been a lot better if it was on that level. It's been stripped back. That's almost slipped the net. There is a scene in there which was very dark. And it showed Lex Luthor in a very good way. To me, it wasn't the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor or anything like that. And I've always found these films a bit cheesy and a bit crap sometimes in regards to that. So there was a positive element, but the film then it's quite light-hearted. But then I say that I don't really want to get into the major politics of stuff, but it is a political film for sure. And maybe it was a bit too political, and maybe James Gunn shouldn't have made it quite as in your face as it was. It's not even beating around the bush. I think it was very in your face, and I'm not sure for a family blockbuster film that was the right choice to go as heavy as that. I just feel like other films have done it more tactfully.
Well, we had a heated discussion about this because I disagree a little bit. Because yes, it's a political film, but I feel that it's very relevant and that too many people are skirting around the issue and tiptoeing around it, and this kind of really throws it in your face to an extent, but also it almost makes it a little bit comical.
Well, that's not a good thing.
Well, because for me, like I said to Jason beforehand, I said it to me, the point that I take from it is when you take the politics away, is about doing what's right and about doing the right thing regardless of who's in charge and who's telling you to do what and things like that. And that's what I took from
But this
it, because
discussion
that's
right
how
now,
I
that's very
feel about
heavy
it.
for a Superman film. It's a very heavy thing for a Superman film. Where, you know,
When you break it down to its like barest bones,
the
it can get
Snyderverse
heavy, yes.
is dark, but it's not as dark as that in that sense. So you know what I mean? It's you know, to me, you can't. It had some good effects in it, but I still feel like there's been better effects in Superman films from you know, the previous batch. It was all right. I've got to digest it more. I wasn't blown away. I didn't expect to be. I think it's. I know it's a comic
I was
book.
expecting a disaster.
I know it's a comic book film, but it's a bit too comical. Like Crypto's fun, but you know,
I liked the little bit of cheesiness, homebody, Clark Kent Superman they brought back to it. Because I used to really like the original Supermans and the cheesy TV series, which was terrible, but I loved it. And Superman, even from the very beginning in the comics, he was always like the poster child of do-gooders. He was a proper do-gooder. And I much prefer Superman over characters like Captain America, for example, who just irritates me.
well, at least they address his hypnotic glasses as to why people don't recognise him. At least
I
that.
can't believe they put that in there.
You know, that's been a stupid argument I've had with my dad all my life as a joke. My dad thinks it's ridiculous. It's always been an ongoing joke. So,
I feel
you
like
know,
it was a joke in the film.
at least
as well.
that was acknowledged. You know, they didn't have that technology back in the old days. That's why. But you know, it's yeah, it's worth a watch. I'm not recommending it. It's just
I recommend it.
it's not a
very fun.
blockbuster to me. That's all. It's just, again, it's a meh. My overall real opinion was, and I said it when we come out, my out of cinema reaction is busy. It's a very busy film. There's a lot going on and it's a bit too chaotic. I do think it needs to be stripped back a bit. There's
love
too
chaos.
much getting thrown at you.
Chaos is fine.
There's characters coming left, right and centre. There's sets and set pieces left, right and
I will
centre.
point out, if you can't keep up with this film, then like it's easy.
I can
to
keep up with it. It's just, you know,
I enjoy a
sometimes
bit of chaos. Sometimes
less is more. Sometimes so less is more. This film had too much, and it's what Batman versus Superman suffered with. They were cramming too much in and trying to introduce too many characters.
there's far more problems with that film than just that.
And there's so many characters thrown at me. You just don't get to know any of them that well or care that much about any of them because there's just so much being
My
thrown at you.
Chaos Gremlin approves.
Lois Lane was better than I thought because in the trailer she come across as a bit of a dick, but
I hated her at first.
But-
I hated her. She irritated me, but she grew on me.
no, she was a good Lois Lane.
She has a nice character arc. I actually enjoyed her character arc in this. The very short character arc she had.
There's the odd little thing that made me laugh. I'm not so into the James Gunn humour, so that, you know, I don't appreciate as much as others. But yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the new Superman film.